Dr. Sarah Chen never imagined her life would change forever when the research ship Meridian crashed on the distant planet Kepler 442b. As the only survivor among the crew of 12, she found herself stranded on a world of purple skies and silver grass, with no hope of rescue for at least 5 years. The planet seemed empty at first, just endless fields and strange, glowing trees that hummed softly in the alien wind. But on her third day of exploring, she discovered she wasn't alone. The being she found unconscious near a crystal formation was unlike anything she had ever seen. Tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like moonlight on water and eyes the color of deep ocean. He was clearly not human. When he woke and spoke to her in perfect English, somehow understanding her language through ways she couldn't explain, Sarah realized this encounter would challenge everything she thought she knew about life, survival, and what it meant to be human. Neither of them knew that their meeting would lead to something that would change both their worlds forever. Sarah had been walking for hours, searching for any sign of other life or useful materials from other crashed ships. The planet's 2 suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. She was tired, hungry, and starting to lose hope when she saw a strange light coming from behind a cluster of tall crystal rocks. As she got closer, she could see someone lying on the ground. Her heart raced. Another survivor. But when she reached the figure, she stopped in shock. This was not a human being. The alien was tall, maybe 7 feet, with long limbs and silver-blue skin that seemed to glow softly in the fading light. His face was beautiful in a way that made her chest tight, sharp cheekbones, a straight nose, and lips that were almost human but not quite. His hair was white as starlight and fell past his shoulders. Sarah knelt beside him, checking for signs of life. His chest rose and fell slowly. She could feel warmth from his body, and when she touched his wrist, she felt a pulse, faster than human, but steady. "Hello?" she whispered. "Can you hear me?" The alien's eyes opened suddenly, and Sarah gasped. They were the most beautiful eyes she had ever seen. Deep blue like the ocean, with flecks of silver that seemed to move like stars. For a moment, they just stared at each other. "You are not of my people," he said, his voice deep and musical. Sarah was amazed that she could understand him perfectly. "No, I'm human. From Earth. My name is Sarah. What are you?" The alien sat up slowly, wincing as if in pain. "I am Zephyr of the Luminari. My ship also crashed on this world. I have been here for many cycles of the suns." "Cycles? How long?" "What you might call months. I lost count." Sarah felt a mix of relief and worry. Relief that she wasn't alone, but worry about what this meant. "Are there others? Other Luminari?" Zephyr's beautiful face showed sadness. "No, I am the last of my crew. And you? Are there other humans?" "No, just me." Sarah sat back on her heels, studying him. "How is it that we can understand each other?" "My people have the gift of language. We can speak and understand any intelligent being's words. It is, how do you say, telepathic, but only for communication." Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Zephyr learned to survive together. The planet was not as empty as Sarah had first thought. There were small animals that looked like rabbits with 6 legs, fruit trees with sweet purple fruit, and clear streams of fresh water. Zephyr showed Sarah which plants were safe to eat and which ones had healing powers. His knowledge of the planet was much greater than hers, since he had been there longer. In return, Sarah shared her scientific knowledge and the supplies she had saved from her crashed ship. They built a shelter together near a warm spring, using pieces of metal from both their ships and materials from the planet. Working side by side, Sarah began to notice things about Zephyr that made her heart beat faster. He was incredibly gentle, always making sure she was comfortable and safe. When she cut her hand on a sharp piece of metal, he held her hand carefully while cleaning the wound, his touch sending strange tingles through her body. His eyes would meet hers often, and she felt like he could see into her soul. Tell me about your people, Sarah asked one evening as they sat by their fire, eating the purple fruit and some cooked six-legged rabbit. Zephyr was quiet for a moment, staring into the flames. The Luminari are an old race. We travel between stars, learning and exploring. We believe in harmony with nature, with other beings, with the universe itself. That sounds beautiful. It is. Or was. Our home world is dying, Sarah. That is why I was traveling, to find a new place for my people to live. But now, he gestured around them, I am the only one left to carry on our ways. Sarah felt her heart break for him. I'm sorry. And you? What was your mission? I'm a biologist. I was part of a team studying life on different planets. We were supposed to spend 6 months here, then return to Earth with our findings. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Instead, I'm stuck here for years, if ever. Perhaps, Zephyr said softly, we were meant to find each other. That night, as Sarah lay in her sleeping area, she couldn't stop thinking about his words. Was it possible that their meeting was more than just chance? As the weeks passed, Sarah and Zephyr grew closer. They worked together during the day, hunting, gathering food, improving their shelter. In the evenings, they would talk for hours about their worlds, their hopes, their fears. Sarah learned that Zephyr was not just intelligent, but wise beyond his years. He had a way of seeing the beauty in everything, even their difficult situation. When she was frustrated or sad, he would find ways to make her laugh or help her see things differently. Zephyr learned that Sarah was strong and determined, but also had a tender heart. She cared deeply about all living things, which is why she had become a biologist. She was also funny and kind, always thinking of ways to make their life better. One evening, about 2 months after they had met, Sarah was feeling particularly lonely. The reality of being stranded hit her hard sometimes, and she began to cry. I miss home, she said, tears streaming down her face. I miss my family, my friends, my old life. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this for years. Zephyr moved closer to her by the fire. Without a word, he pulled her into his arms. Sarah was surprised by how right it felt to be held by him. His body was warm and solid, and she could hear his heart beating, that faster-than-human rhythm that she had grown to love. You are the strongest person I have ever met, he said softly, his breath warm against her hair. Human or Luminari, you have survived when others did not. You have built a new life in an impossible place. You have been kind to a stranger from another world. Sarah looked up into his beautiful blue eyes. I couldn't have done any of this without you. And I could not have survived much longer without you. We are stronger together. Something passed between them in that moment. A connection deeper than friendship, deeper than just two beings helping each other survive. Sarah felt drawn to him in a way she had never felt toward anyone. Zephyr, she whispered. Yes, I think I'm falling in love with you. His eyes widened, and for a moment, Sarah was afraid she had made a terrible mistake. But then he smiled, the most beautiful smile she had ever seen. I have already fallen, he said. From the moment I opened my eyes and saw you caring for a stranger, I knew my heart was lost. When he kissed her, it was like nothing Sarah had ever experienced. His lips were soft and warm, and she could taste something sweet, like the purple fruit, but better. Energy seemed to flow between them, making her feel alive in a way she never had before. Their relationship changed everything. Sarah and Zephyr were no longer just two beings trying to survive. They were partners in every sense of the word. They worked together, lived together, and loved together with a passion that surprised them both. Making love with Zephyr was unlike anything Sarah had ever imagined. His body was similar to a human male's in some ways, but different in others. His skin always felt warm and seemed to glow softly when he was happy or excited. When they touched, Sarah could feel energy flowing between them, as if they were connected in ways beyond the physical. Is this normal for your people? Sarah asked one morning as they lay together, watching the purple sunrise through their shelter's window. No, Zephyr said, running his fingers through her hair. Luminari can love other beings. But this connection we have, this is special. I can feel your emotions, your thoughts sometimes. Can you feel mine? Sarah thought about it. Yes, I think I can. When you're happy, I feel light inside. When you're sad, my chest hurts. This is what my people call a soul bond. It is very rare, even between Luminari. I have never heard of it happening between two different species. What does it mean? It means we are meant to be together, in this life and beyond. Sarah felt a warmth spread through her chest. I love you, Zephyr. And I love you, my Sarah, more than all the stars in the sky. 3 months into their relationship, Sarah began to feel strange. She was tired all the time, and food that she normally enjoyed made her feel sick. At first, she thought she might be getting ill from something they had eaten. But when she missed her monthly cycle, she began to suspect something else entirely. Zephyr, she said one morning as they were preparing breakfast. I need to ask you something important. Of course. What is it? Is it possible for humans and Luminari to have children together? Zephyr stopped what he was doing and looked at her with wide eyes. Why do you ask? Sarah told him about her symptoms, about her missed cycle, about the strange feelings in her body. As she spoke, Zephyr's expression changed from surprise to wonder to something like fear. I don't know, he said honestly. It has never happened before, as far as I know. Our species are very different. But not completely different, Sarah said. We can understand each other. We can love each other. Maybe we can create life together too. Over the next few days, Sarah's symptoms continued. Her breasts became tender, she felt sick in the mornings, and she was exhausted by midday. All signs pointed to pregnancy, but she couldn't be sure without proper medical equipment. Zephyr was attentive and caring, bringing her special teas made from healing plants and making sure she rested. But Sarah could feel his worry through their bond. What are you afraid of? She asked him one evening. I'm afraid for you, he said. If you are carrying a child that is part Luminari, I don't know what that will mean for your body. I don't know if it will be safe. Are you sorry that this might have happened? Zephyr took her hands in his. No, my love. If you are carrying our child, it is the greatest gift the universe could give us. But I am terrified of losing you. Sarah squeezed his hands. You won't lose me. We'll figure this out together. As the weeks passed, it became clear that Sarah was indeed pregnant. Her body was changing in ways that were both familiar and completely new. Her belly began to grow, but it seemed to glow with a soft light, especially at night. Look, she said to Zephyr one evening, lifting her shirt to show him her rounded stomach. In the dim light of their shelter, her skin seemed to shine from within. Zephyr placed his hands gently on her belly, and the glow became brighter. Our child has Luminari traits, he said with wonder. But it is growing in a human mother. This is truly a miracle. Sarah felt the baby kick for the first time while Zephyr's hands were on her stomach. The movement was strong, stronger than she expected. Did you feel that? Yes, Zephyr said, his voice full of emotion. Our child is strong. They began to prepare for the birth, even though they had no idea what to expect. Zephyr gathered all the healing plants he could find and studied their properties. Sarah used her scientific knowledge to try to understand what was happening to her body. I've been thinking, Sarah said one day as they worked on building a cradle from the planet's strong silver wood. What if our child is the first of a new kind of being? Part human, part Luminari. What if this is the beginning of something amazing? Zephyr looked at her with love and admiration. You always see the wonder in everything. Yes, perhaps our child will be the first of many. A bridge between our peoples. Do you think your people would accept a child like ours? I think they would see it as a gift from the universe. A sign that life finds a way to continue, even in the most impossible circumstances. Sarah's pregnancy lasted about 8 months, shorter than a typical human pregnancy, but longer than Zephyr had expected for a Luminari child. As her time approached, both she and Zephyr were nervous but excited. The labor began in the early morning, as the two suns were rising. Sarah's pain was intense, but Zephyr was with her every moment, holding her hand, giving her strength through their bond. "I can see the baby's head," Zephyr said, his voice shaking with emotion. "Sarah, our child is coming." With one final push, their baby was born. Zephyr caught the tiny being in his hands, and both parents gasped at what they saw. The baby was beautiful beyond words. She had Sarah's basic human shape, but her skin had a soft, pearl-like glow. Her hair was silver-white like Zephyr's, and when she opened her eyes, they were the same deep blue with moving silver flecks. "She's perfect," Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face as Zephyr placed the baby in her arms. "She is a miracle," Zephyr said, touching the baby's tiny hand with one finger. The baby's skin glowed brighter at his touch, and she made soft cooing sounds that seemed almost musical. "What should we name her?" Zephyr thought for a moment. "In my language there is a word, Astra. It means bridge between worlds or one who connects. Would you like that name?" "Astra," Sarah said, looking down at their daughter. "Yes, Astra Chinluminari, the first of her kind." When Astra was 3 years old, something extraordinary happened. Sarah was working in their garden when she heard a strange sound, a humming that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Zephyr," she called. "Do you hear that?" Zephyr came running with Astra in his arms. All three of them looked up at the sky and saw something that made their hearts race. A ship, flying high above them. "Is it human?" Sarah asked, her voice shaking. "I don't think so," Zephyr said. "The shape is wrong. But it's not Luminari either." The ship circled their area several times, then landed in a clearing about a mile from their home. Sarah, Zephyr, and Astra hurried toward it, curious and nervous about what they might find. The beings who came out of the ship were unlike either humans or Luminari. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and large eyes. But they moved in a friendly way, and when they spoke, both Sarah and Zephyr could understand them. "Greetings," the leader said. "We are the Zephyrians. We have been searching for you." "Searching for us?" Sarah asked. "Why?" "We have heard the stories. The human and the Luminari who found love on a lost world. The child who is both species. Your story has spread across many worlds." Sarah and Zephyr looked at each other in shock. "How is that possible?" "Your ship," the Zephyrian said to Zephyr, "was sending out automatic messages before it crashed. Other Luminari ships received them and learned what happened to you. And your ship," he said to Sarah, "was also broadcasting. When neither of you returned home, both your peoples began to search." "Are they coming to rescue us?" Sarah asked. "If you wish to be rescued," the Zephyrian said, "but many would prefer to come here. Your story has given hope to many beings. The idea that different species can not only live together, but create new life together. It is changing how we all think about the universe." Astra, who had been quietly listening, stepped forward. "Will more children like me be born?" The Zephyrian looked down at her with kind eyes. "Yes, little one. Already, there are human Luminari couples on several worlds. And not just humans and Luminari. Other species are beginning to form bonds as well. You are the first, but you will not be the last." Sarah, Zephyr, and Astra had a choice to make. They could leave their planet home and return to civilization, or they could stay and continue building their life together in this peaceful place. "What do you want to do?" Sarah asked Zephyr as they talked late into the night after the Zephyrians had set up their own camp nearby. "I want to be wherever you and Astra are happiest," he said. "This planet has been good to us, but I know you miss your people." Sarah thought about it. She did miss Earth, missed her family and friends. but she also loved the life they had built here. "What if we did both?" she said. "What if we went back to civilization for a while so Astra could meet other humans and Luminari, and so we could help other couples like us? But then we could come back here when we wanted to. This could be our home base." "I like that idea," Zephyr said. "We could be ambassadors for interspecies relationships." The next morning, they talked to Astra about their decision. "I want to meet other people," Astra said. "But I want to come back here too. This is where our family was born." So they decided to travel with the Zephyrians to a space station where humans and Luminari were working together on various projects. Sarah and Zephyr would share their story and help other couples navigate the challenges of interspecies relationships. Astra would get to meet other children and learn about both sides of her heritage. As their ship left the planet's atmosphere, Sarah looked back at the world that had changed her life forever. The purple skies and silver grass were beautiful from space, and she felt a deep love for the place where she had found her soulmate and become a mother. "We'll be back," she whispered to the planet. "Yes," Zephyr said, taking her hand. "This will always be our true home." Astra was pressed against the ship's window, watching the stars. "Look, Mama, Papa. So many worlds. So many places where love can grow." Sarah smiled and hugged her daughter. Astra was right. Love could grow anywhere between any beings who were open to it. Their story was just the beginning. Over the next few years, Sarah and Zephyr became famous throughout the galaxy as the couple who proved that love truly had no boundaries. They helped establish the first interspecies relationship center, where beings from different worlds could learn about each other and find support for their relationships. Astra grew up to be a bridge between worlds, just as her name suggested. She could communicate with almost any intelligent species and had a gift for helping others understand each other. She became the first interspecies ambassador, traveling to different worlds to promote understanding and cooperation. But no matter how far they traveled or how many people they helped, Sarah, Zephyr, and Astra always returned to their purple-skied planet. It was there that they felt most like themselves, most like a family. On quiet evenings, they would sit by their old fire pit and remember how it all began. Two strangers from different worlds, finding love in the most impossible circumstances. Their love had created not just a child, but a new way of thinking about what was possible in the universe. "Do you ever regret it?" Sarah asked Zephyr one evening as they watched Astra play with her younger siblings. Twin boys who looked more like Zephyr but had Sarah's determination. "Regret finding you? Regret our life together?" "Never," Zephyr said, pulling her close. "You are my soulmate, Sarah, my other half. Without you, I would be incomplete. Even though it meant leaving your old life behind? Even though it was dangerous and uncertain? Especially because of that," Zephyr said. "The best things in life require courage. Love requires courage. And our love, our family, is the most courageous thing I've ever done." As the 3 moons of their adopted planet rose in the sky, Sarah reflected on how much her life had changed. She had started as a scientist studying alien life and had ended up living an alien life herself. She had found love, become a mother, and helped change the way the galaxy thought about relationships between different species. But most importantly, she had found home. Not in a place, but in the hearts of the beings she loved most in all the worlds. Their story became legend, the human woman and the alien man who found love on a deserted planet, and the child who became a bridge between worlds. It was a story of hope, showing that even in the darkest circumstances, love could bloom and create something beautiful and new. And in years to come, when young beings from different species fell in love and faced challenges because of their differences, they would remember Sarah and Zephyr and Astra. They would remember that love was stronger than fear, stronger than difference, stronger than any obstacle the universe could place in its way. The light between worlds, the love that connected different beings across vast distances and impossible differences, would continue to shine, illuminating the path for all those brave enough to follow their hearts across the stars. 3 days later, Sarah, Zephyr, and their extended family returned to Kepler 442b for their annual homecoming. The planet had changed dramatically over the decades. What had once been an empty world was now home to the Harmony Colony, a thriving settlement of interspecies families who had come seeking the same kind of acceptance and peace that Sarah and Zephyr had found. The purple grass still waved in the alien wind, and the crystal formations still hummed their ancient songs. But now there were also gardens where earth roses grew beside luminary light flowers, and playgrounds where children of dozens of different species laughed and played together. "Look, Zephyr," Sarah said as they walked hand in hand through the settlement's main street. "Remember when we thought we were alone here?" Zephyr chuckled, the sound still sending shivers of joy through her after all these years. "Now I understand what the ancient luminary philosophers meant when they spoke of the infinite spiral of connection. Our love created Astra. Astra's work brought these families together, and their children will carry the light even further." They made their way to their original shelter, which had been preserved as a historical site and place of pilgrimage for interspecies couples. A small plaque by the door read, "Here, love conquered the impossible. Here, the future began." That evening, as the family gathered around a much larger fire pit than the original, surrounded by their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren from various species, Astra stood to make an announcement. "I have something to tell you all," she said, her voice carrying the musical quality she had inherited from her father and the warm strength she had gotten from her mother. "The Galactic Council has approved my proposal for the Great Journey." The family leaned forward with interest. Astra had been working for years on an ambitious project, but had kept the details secret until now. "What is the Great Journey?" asked one of the youngest grandchildren, a boy whose skin changed colors with his emotions, a trait from his cameloid grandfather. "We're going to travel beyond our galaxy," Astra announced, her eyes glowing with excitement, "to make contact with intelligent species in other galaxies and share what we've learned about unity, love, and building communities across differences." Sarah felt her heart swell with pride and a touch of worry. "That's dangerous, my dear. We know so little about what's out there." "That's exactly what you said about falling in love with an alien," Zephyr pointed out with a gentle smile. "And look how that turned out." Astra laughed. "That's where I get my courage from. Both of you. You taught me that the greatest rewards come from the greatest risks, especially when those risks are taken in the name of love and understanding." 6 months later, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the massive ship Unity, watching as Astra and her diverse crew prepared for their journey beyond the known galaxy. The ship itself was a marvel of interspecies cooperation, built using technology and materials from hundreds of different worlds, designed to sustain life forms of every type they had encountered. "Are you ready for this?" Sarah asked her daughter as they shared what might be their last embrace for many years. "I'm terrified," Astra admitted, "but I'm also excited. Can you imagine what we might find out there? What new forms of love and connection might exist that we haven't even dreamed of?" Zephyr joined them, placing his glowing hands on both their shoulders. "You carry our light with you," he told Astra. "Not just the light of our love, but the light of every being who has found the courage to love across differences. You are all of our hopes made manifest." As the Unity disappeared into the depths of space, Sarah felt the same mixture of fear and wonder that had filled her that first day on Kepler for 42b when she had discovered Zephyr. The universe was vast and full of unknowns, but it was also full of infinite possibilities for connection and love. Years passed. Sarah and Zephyr grew older, but their love remained as strong as ever. They spent their time traveling between worlds, speaking to young people about the importance of openness, courage, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. On Sarah's 85th birthday, as she sat in their garden on Kepler 442b surrounded by friends and family from across the galaxy, she received a message that made her cry tears of joy. The transmission was weak, having traveled impossible distances, But Astra's voice came through clearly. "We found them, Mama and Papa. We found others. Not just other species, but other beings who have learned to love across differences. The universe is so much bigger and more beautiful than we ever imagined. Your light, our light, is everywhere." The message continued with details of incredible discoveries. Galaxies where energy beings had formed loving partnerships with matter-based species, where collective consciousnesses had learned to embrace individuality, where beings of pure thought had found ways to love beings of pure emotion. "Love truly is the universal language," Sarah whispered to Zephyr as they held each other under the light of 3 moons. "And we wrote the first words of that language," Zephyr replied, his voice full of wonder. "But look how many are speaking it now." On the night that Sarah peacefully passed away in her sleep at the age of 92, something extraordinary happened. As Zephyr held her hand and wept tears that glowed like liquid starlight, every interspecies couple in the galaxy reported the same phenomenon. For just a moment, they felt an overwhelming surge of love and connection, as if the universe itself was acknowledging the passing of one of its greatest teachers. Sarah's funeral was attended by beings from thousands of worlds. They came not just to mourn, but to celebrate a life that had changed the course of galactic history. Zephyr, though devastated by the loss of his soulmate, found comfort in the knowledge that their love had created something eternal. "She lives on in every couple brave enough to love across differences," he said at the memorial service. "In every child born from 2 different worlds. In every moment when understanding triumphs over fear." Zephyr lived for another 20 years after Sarah's death, continuing their work and waiting for the day when he would see her again. When that day came, he passed peacefully in the same spot where they had first kissed, surrounded by their descendants and the countless lives they had touched. But their story didn't end there. Throughout the galaxy, their names became synonymous with the power of love to transcend any barrier. New couples would visit their shrine on Kepler 442b and leave flowers from their home worlds. Children would learn their story in schools, understanding that difference was not something to fear, but something to celebrate. And far across the cosmos, Astra continued her work, carrying the light of her parents' love to new galaxies, new species, new forms of existence that had never imagined such connections were possible. The light between worlds, that first spark of love between a stranded human biologist and a crashed alien explorer, had become a beacon that would shine throughout the universe for all time, proving that love, in all its infinite forms, was indeed the most powerful force in existence. In the end, Sarah and Zephyr's greatest discovery wasn't just that different species could love each other. It was that love itself was the thread that connected all consciousness, all life, all existence across the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Their light would never fade, because it lived on in every act of love, every moment of understanding, every choice to embrace rather than fear the beautiful diversity of life in the universe. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond physical existence, Sarah and Zephyr danced together among the stars, their love eternal, their legacy infinite, their light forever shining between all the worlds that had yet to discover the transformative power of love without boundaries. On the night that Sarah peacefully passed away in her sleep at the age of 92, something extraordinary happened. As Zephyr held her hand and wept tears that glowed like liquid starlight, every interspecies couple in the galaxy reported the same phenomenon. For just a moment, they felt an overwhelming surge of love and connection, as if the universe itself was acknowledging the passing of one of its greatest teachers. Sarah's funeral was attended by beings from thousands of worlds. They came not just to mourn, but to celebrate a life that had changed the course of galactic history. Zephyr, though devastated by the loss of his soulmate, found comfort in the knowledge that their love had created something eternal. "She lives on in every couple brave enough to love across differences," he said at the memorial service. "In every child born from 2 different worlds. In every moment when understanding triumphs over fear." Zephyr lived for another 20 years after Sarah's death, continuing their work and waiting for the day when he would see her again. When that day came, He passed peacefully in the same spot where they had first kissed, surrounded by their descendants and the countless lives they had touched. But their story didn't end there. Throughout the galaxy, their names became synonymous with the power of love to transcend any barrier. New couples would visit their shrine on Kepler 442b and leave flowers from their home worlds. Children would learn their story in schools, understanding that difference was not something to fear, but something to celebrate. And far across the cosmos, Astra continued her work, carrying the light of her parents' love to new galaxies, new species, new forms of existence that had never imagined such connections were possible. The light between worlds, that first spark of love between a stranded human biologist and a crashed alien explorer, had become a beacon that would shine throughout the universe for all time, proving that love, in all its infinite forms, was indeed the most powerful force in existence. In the end, Sarah and Zephyr's greatest discovery wasn't just that different species could love each other. It was that love itself was the thread that connected all consciousness, all life, all existence across the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Their light would never fade, because it lived on in every act of love, every moment of understanding, every choice to embrace rather than fear the beautiful diversity of life in the universe. And somewhere, in dimensions beyond physical existence, Sarah and Zephyr danced together among the stars, their love eternal, their legacy infinite, their light forever shining between all the worlds that had yet to discover the transformative power of love without boundaries.